Mike Birkin, that's the man.
No
Yes,
way. His mom
yes.
passed away?
I don't know if his mom or one of his parents passed away, and he's saying
Ah,
Kaddish. I don't know which parent. He made a
when that
great
happened?
impression on him, Yaron. So you got to keep on doing, keep
Great
up your
guy.
good work, Yaron.
I'm gonna
Okay,
text him.
so 22A4 on the right side. Amar Hoshia. Hamabia sharp sule hamikdashim. Someone who breeds, that means he takes a sharp sule hamikdashim. What does that mean? We started saying yesterday. You have an axe, and this axe was originally designated, sanctified as a korban, as an offering. And what happened was, after you designate as an offering, you know what happened? It got a blemish. As a result of it got a blemish, you cannot bring it on the mizbeach, on the altar. Now, if you want to use it for personal use, you have to redeem it, right? Redeem it onto another animal, then you bring the other animal as the korban. But now that you redeemed it, this animal that you was once holy, that had a blemish, that you redeemed, still contains certain laws of holiness applied to this animal. You can't you could slaughter it, you could eat it outside the Beit HaMikdash, but you can't, let's say, one of the restrictions you have with this is you cannot work this animal. That's one of the restrictions you have with this animal. Just like when an animal that was consecrated and nothing and no blemish, right? It's consecrated to the Beit HaMikdash. You can't work with the animal. There's certain laws that you have. You can't work with that animal. The animal is, it's consecrated for the Beit HaMikdash. So too, even when you redeem the animal, still retains some holiness. So this concept that the animal the animal itself is like a mixed breed. It has aspects of holiness to it because there's restrictions, limitations, and there's also aspects of profane, of chulin, because you're allowed to eat it, you're allowed to slaughter it outside the Beit HaMikdash. So some understand that the Rivan understands this is like, it's chulin and hegdish in one. It's something that's considered holy and not holy. So it's like it has two identities. It's like it has two different. It's a mixed animal in itself. Like you have a person. Sometimes he acts holy, sometimes doesn't act holy. It's a mixed up person. You have to be. What are you? Are you holy? You're not holy. You're not consistent. This animal is also mixed.
But
It
what's
has
the case
holiness.
exactly?
What?
What is the case exactly?
The case is an axe that was designated for an offering, and then the axe got a blemish, it got a mum, and then you redeemed the axe. You removed the holiness onto another animal, but now you have the axe that was redeemed, and now there's this axe that was redeemed. You see, before you redeemed it, it's holy, one identity. Now that you redeemed it, it has two identifications. One, if you take out a card, who are you? What's your name? My name is, I'm holy. I have holiness to me. He did have holiness, but he still retains the axe still retains holiness. You still can't work that axe. So if you give it, if he gives his ID, the axe's ID, it's holy. And also he takes out another card, he's not holy, because he could slaughter it anywhere. So this axe is mixed. It's a mixed axe.
You can't bring it.
So once you have this mixed axe, so this axe, you can't, if you're gonna take this axe and mate this axe with another animal, any animal, even another ox, it's like you're mating two different animals. This one animal has a status of two animals. That is what the Rivan says. That's how he understands the Gemara. And that's an amazing concept, because you would never think that there's a prohibition to mate two different animals. But now we're saying that this one animal has a status of two animals. Its ID is two animals. Since it's two animals, it's like you're mating it's two different animals. The fact that the animal has holiness and it's holy and not holy makes it two different animals. That's how the Rivan understands the Gemara, and he had the question, where do we find such a proof to this concept anywhere, precedent, that if you have something that's holy and not holy, that's called kalayim. That's called a mixed breed. That changes the status, the actual animal, that you can identify it as a different animal. like two different animals. You could say it has holiness and non-holiness, but is that considered two different animals? Like you breed it, and therefore, if you mate it with another animal, it's like you're mating two different animals. You would not say that on your own. You would say this animal is one animal. It's an ox. It's not two different animals. The ox has a status of holiness and non-holiness. There's certain laws of holiness that apply to the ox, certain laws that don't apply to the ox. But to say that we're going to look at it like it's two different animals, that this one ox, and yet if you mate this animal with another animal, you're like breeding two different species. You're going to consider holiness and non-holiness like it's two different species. The case of the Torah is if you take a ox and a donkey and you're interbreed and you crossbreed them, those are actually two different animals. But to say that one animal, this one ox, you're going to look at this one ox like it's two different animals, that is a tremendous novelty. That is the issue a little bit with this approach, to say that the reason why he's going to get lashes for breeding two different crossbreeding is because of the fact that this holiness and mundane mixed in one animal that designates as two different animals, right?
But why are we not saying the same thing when it was chulin? Because before it was chulin, and after it become ekdesh, after you redeem it, and it becomes chulin again, right?
Yeah, but it's not chulin again completely. When you redeem the animal, that's what Mr. Safdie was asking before, as well. When you redeem the animal, it still retains some holiness, some hegdish to it, some kedusha to it. It's not hegdish, but there's still limitations, restrictions. Which
Why?
Is like,
in Maaser Sheni, we see when we dim it, we can eat it anywhere we want. We do whatever we want.
That's true, but very good. But this animal, it's true, you're 100% right. When you redeem the Maaser Sheni, you bring the money to Jerusalem and you eat the fruits wherever you are. But when this animal, even though you redeemed it, there's still limitations. So this animal is considered holy and non-holy, and that identifies it as two different animals. In a certain sense, if you want to take the musar of it, when a person acts sometimes with holiness and sometimes with non-holiness, you're like two different people. What are you? You always have to be consistent. You're not being consistent. You're a mixed personality type, that mixed personality, whatever you call it, or you're like two different. You're like two different people with personality, right? It's like two different people. That's the Musa. But Tosfot has a different approach. Tosfot has an approach that the Torah itself classified this animal that was redeemed as if it's like two different animals. Because the Torah says, when the Torah says about this animal that you redeemed, it says you consider it like a tzvi and an ayah. You look at this animal that once this animal that was holy was redeemed, you can eat it outside the Beit HaMikdash. It's like a deer, like an ayal, that there's no korban. You're able to eat the deer anywhere, right? If you slaughter a deer, right? A deer is a kosher animal. It's a very hard animal to catch without injuring it in a way to make it a treifah, right? A deer is a kosher animal. So the Torah compares this like a deer and an ayal. A deer and an ayal are two different animals. One's a deer and an ayal is like a ram. So the Torah, maybe there's a better definition for ayal, but the bottom line is the Torah referred to this animal that was redeemed as if it is like a tzvi and an ayal. It's like two different animals. So the fact that the Torah identified it like two different animals, so then that's why it could be, we can consider it kalayim. We consider this animal like a mixed animal, and therefore if you mate it on another animal, it's like you're mating two different animals. And also our girsa and our Gemara is lokesh shnayim. There will be two sets of lashes. Because it's two animals in one, right? Right. But let's say the other animal is the same animal, right? You're breeding it with another ox. Now, Tosfot, our text has to be 2 lashes, because some understand the mating these 2 animals together, that act is considered like an avodah. That's considered like a job, like work. And therefore, like it says by, I don't know if you want to compare it, we find that an Eved Ivri, if you give him a shifcha, if you give him a maid servant, he works by day and he works by night. But if she produces children, it's like working at night. So maybe that's also the idea over here, that act of mating them is considered like avodah. Therefore, there would be a separate lashes for violating the prohibition of working with an animal that's holy. So that's what the Gemara says. Amar Rav Hoshia, Marbia Shabsula Mikdashim Lokesh Shnayim. He gets 2 sets of lashes if he crossbreeds this animal that was redeemed, and he breeds this animal, and he mates it with another animal. Amar Rav Yitzchak. Rav Yitzchak also takes it to another and says another thing. Hamanhig b'Shabsula Mikdashim. Look at, if you go ahead and you lead, you actively lead this animal. That's, good morning, Simon. You lead it, and it has, Tosfos says that it has a load on its back. So if you go ahead and you do that, you would get lashes for this act of leading this animal. Meaning, here we have only one animal about. There's one animal. There's the Shab Sulim B'Gdashim. This animal was redeemed. And this animal, and what did you do with it? You went ahead and you did work with this animal, right? So that he'll get lashes because of why? Because of klayim. He's going to get lashes because he is working he's working 2 different animals, like, even though it's one animal, right? Meaning to say, in this particular case, he's definitely going to go ahead and get malkut, because of he's working with the acts of the hegdish, right? This axe, he's working. How is he working with it? He's leading it on a road. It has a load on its back, and you are walking it, and you're leading it. So if you're leading it with a load on its back, and it's the Shab Sulam Mikdashim, so therefore you are violating the prohibition of working with a animal that's holy. But not only he's working with an animal that's holy. Good morning, Jaime.
Morning, Rabbi.
We are on 22A4 on the bottom. So the Gemara just said that if you lead an animal, if the animal has both the status of holiness and non-holiness, it was redeemed. It was once holy, but it had a blemish, and you redeemed it, and now you put a load on that animal. And there's only one animal here. So for sure, for leading the animal, doing work with the animal, he will get lashes because of what? Working with an animal that was holy. But there's an additional lashes. You know what the additional lashes is? Because this one animal has the status of 2 animals. This one animal is a mix. What makes him a mix? Because of the holiness and the non-holiness makes him a mix. And according to Tosfos, because there's non-holiness and holiness, the Torah identified that here's a status of 2 different animals. And therefore, if it's like 2 different animals, therefore it's like you're working with 2 different animals. So you can be one animal, but it's like 2 animals. That's one warning. You're gonna get a warning if it don't work. An animal of hegdish, or animal that has holiness. Is gonna get another warning. Don't work with 2 different animals. And this is considered
not holy anymore.
Animal could be considered 2 animals. That's the chidush of the Gemara. What do you say?
It's not at the same time. because during one period of the time is Ekdesh, after you redeem it and after you become Chulin. So
No,
it's
but this
not happening
animal
at
was
the same time.
no, but this animal was redeemed, Yaron, but it still has some status of Hekdesh. It has certain laws of Hekdesh,
That still applies.
certain laws that apply to this animal, and therefore, in one act, when he leads the animal with the load on its back, he is violating two prohibitions. He is working with an animal that he's not allowed to work with, because he's not allowed to work the animal that once, even though it was redeemed, and he's also working with two different animals, even though it's one animal, but the Torah gave it a status of two animals. Right, because very good. Because one, I would say, because one of the commentaries point out, because this is, it's obvious to the Gemara didn't need to say. Ilya is asking a very good question. Why did the Gemara say over here, look at? He gets one set. He didn't say look at shtayim. He gets two sets of lashes. The second case says, Amar Hoshia, Hamabia. We'll read it inside. Amar Yitzchak, Hamanik b'shopsul mikdashim. Someone who leads an animal that was sulei, invalid, for to be brought as a korban because it got a blemish. Look at, gets lashes. Doesn't say two sets. Leshariguf echadu is considered one. It's one body, but v'aso hakatuv kishnei gufim. This language sounds like Tosfot's language explanation. The Torah makes it like two bodies. How did the Torah make it like two bodies? According to Tosfot, the Torah says this has a status like a deer and an ayal. So the Torah identifies this one animal like it's two animals. Or according to the other Pshat, the Torah made it like two animals by creating certain laws of holiness with it and certain laws of mundaneness. That makes it like two different animals. Ilya asked the question, why didn't he say lokesh tayim? He gets two sets of lashes, because he's going to get two sets of lashes. One for working the animal and one for, it's mixed animal. Two different, he's like, one's for working hegdish, nothing to do with if it's two different animals, and also for kalayim, for the fact that it's two different animals. It's a beautiful question. So to that, there is because that to the Gemara is obvious he's going to get lashes for working the animal. That the Gemara didn't have to tell us. The Gemara needed to tell us that you can get lashes for this one animal. It's like considered like you're crossbreeding two animals in one animal. That's needed. The Gemara before tells us he's going to get lashes, that you're going to, maybe the chidush over there is also over there. It tells us the chidush that it's considered two different animals, and also maybe the chidush that crossbreeding an animal is considered also avodah. It's considered work. You might not have known that you're gonna count that as doing work. Is that called you work the animal? Work, usually you understand working an animal, it plows, it does these type of things, it threshes. But mating the animal, to classify the act of mating two different animals as an act of working, you work with the animal, maybe that's a novel. And therefore, that's why you have to tell us both novelties, both chidushim. But here, leading an animal with a load, that's everyone knows that's considered normal work. So therefore, you didn't need to count that as it's obvious to everyone that there'll be lashes for that point. Okay, Mazel Tov, Mabruk. We're up to the next Mishnah. Kama malkinoto. How many lashes do we give the guy? We're talking about Elahin Alokin, the name of the parakas here. These are the people who get lashes. Now, how many? Arbaim chosa achat. We give 40 minus 1. Why? Shenema, the pasuk says, b'mispa arbaim. The number, and the Gemara is going to explain that there's two psukim. One pasuk says ends b'mispar. The Torah says you give the person lashes, you hit him according to his wickedness, b'mispar, the number. And the next pasuk says arba'im yakenim. So the Gemara is going to darshan b'mispar, the number that the following number will be 40. The number of lashes that a person gets is the number that the following number is 40. So the number that the following number is 40 is 39. So the obvious question is, why does the Torah write it in such a way? Why doesn't the Torah write 39, according to this opinion? So maybe we can answer this question by, there are a number of answers. Why does the Torah give the guy this number of lashes? Why 39 lashes? What's this number 39, the number that leads to 40? So one idea is 40 represents the 40 days that the Moshe Rabbeinu was on Har Sinai to get the luchot, to get the tablets, which the tablets contained the whole Torah. The Aseret Dibrot contained the whole Torah. This person intentionally violated the Torah that was given in those 40 days and 40 nights. So he's deserving of getting these amount of lashes, which is connected to the 40. And now, so the Torah did not want to give him 40 lashes. The Torah wants to give him 39 lashes, but maybe by saying 40 is alluding to this idea that he went against the big 40. He didn't have respect for the 40 days and the 40 nights that Moshe Rabbeinu was up at Sinai to get the luchot. That's one idea of the 40. I want to suggest maybe it takes 40 days for a child to be formed. It's called the Yisirat Avlad. It's from the time of conception. It takes 40 days for like the certain level of formation of a baby. And the whole purpose of the baby, your purpose of coming into the world was, what were you created to serve Hashem? And a guy goes ahead and he acts in a way that he goes against that intentionally. So he's going against his whole purpose of his whole being, which was created. He was created in 40 days, and you were created 40 days, and you go against that. So you have to remember, you're going against your essence of what you're here in this world, and therefore we're going to give him up to that amount of 40 lashes.
The 39 is the big one.
So that's right. The 39 is, so according to many of the commentators, they understand that the Torah's obligation is 39 lashes, but and now you could ask the question, so why 39? Where is that number? Why? And the Torah uses even the word aboim, 40, and it doesn't mean 40, it means 39. To emphasize that 40 concept of the 40 days that the Torah was given. That's one idea. The Rambam, there's a whole question in the Rambam, how do you understand the Rambam? Because the Rambam, some understand the Rambam that really everybody agrees on a Torah level that the Torah was obligating 40 lashes, not 39. Aboim is really literally 40. It says Aboim Yakenu, you give them 40 lashes. It was the Chachamim, the rabbis, that were concerned. What were they concerned? The Torah says, Lo Yosef. The Torah says, don't add to the lashes. Even though the Torah says, give the guy 40, but the Torah says, but no one lash for good luck. If the guy intentionally gives the guy from the court, intentionally gives the guy another lash, he gets lashed. Now, we know when people are counting, mistakes happen sometimes. Sometimes you're off by one, right? And you give a guy, you count 30, want to count the guy 40, what? Even though yes, but it's always possible that one guy might give an extra lash or go make a mistake in the number. So in order to prevent that, the rabbi said, only do 39. The rabbi said, only do 39. And if you make a mistake, so at the end of the day, you made a mistake, you only did 40, and you didn't go overboard. So that's how some understand. It's a fascinating idea that how concerned the rabbis were that they shouldn't come to give an extra lash, that they took away a lash as a preventive measure.
Rabbi, it's sending a message. Better to under punish than it is, God forbid, to over punish.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful message. Yes. Talk a little louder. Everybody wants to hear your voice.
Somebody gets my report that
Get 25. If the person intentionally gives him 26 instead of 25, does he also get more?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think the prohibition of giving more is adding to whatever the court tells you to do. The court tells you to give him 9 lashes, and the guy gives 10. He gave more than. I would look at the Michat Chinuch, but logically, I would say he would get lashes for that.
But Rabbi, Minatorah is 40 or is 39?
Really, it's 40. And the Chachamim, and they have something called an asmachta. What's an asmachta? Enactment. They like to see it alluded to in the Holy Torah. The Torah itself hinted to this concept that we, for many, want to make such a enactment. And many, they find a hint in the Torah. It gives them extra strength when they're thinking about contemplating. They see it, the Torah is already alluding to it, so it's already there in the Holy Torah. Years later, 2000, that we should make such an enactment.
From the Torah, it's 40. That's 40.
That's 40, but there is a drasha. What's the way the Torah writes it? The Torah says the mispah, and the Gemara is going to explain. It could have written it differently. The Torah would only want to focus on 40. It could have written it. And we'll see the Gemara and the fact that it says mispah 40 in number, but it said mispah abaim. So the Gemara, it teaches us 39. That's the source for 39, or it's a reliance, an illusion. Is the opinion of the Chachamim. Rabbi Yehuda Shleimotu Loker. Rabbi Yehuda says he gets 40 complete. The Torah, he takes the Torah, the pasuk literally, and he sees that you're supposed to give the 40. He says, no, you got to give, Gemara says, V'heichanu lokeh et hayetera. According to Rabbi Yehuda, now we know lashes, there's 13 shoulder, 13 on the right shoulder. Good morning. 13 on the chest. That's the 39. But where does number 40 go? Lash. Where does that one extra, that 40th lash go? Between the shoulders, which many interpret that means between with the arm where you hit him. And the Maharsha says that's not a spot of the person. You know, it's but that's where the 40th.
You need to put the tefillin on, Rabbi.
What do you say, Ariel?
You need to put this tefillin on. We cannot do on the arm.
Okay. Very good. Yehuda said that, remember, there's a doctor. Before we give him any lashes, there's someone that estimates. And during the lashes, that doctor, what do you want to call him, a doctor, whatever you want to call him. And if he sees that during the lashes, it's too much for the guy, stop. If he sees that there's a danger of death to the person because you're not supposed to kill him, he's obligated lashes. The guy used the razor, and he used the razor on his beard. He's not deserving of death, deserving of lashes. The doctor said he can't take anymore. We're afraid he might die. Stop. He doesn't get any more. Finished. It's over. Not only that, we're going to see He was supposed to, they estimated to get 39. Afterwards, that they say he can't take 39, but he could take, even they gave him 2 Makkos. They gave him even 1 lash. Really can't take it. He's not going to be able to make 39. He's over. It's finished. Now, let's see the Mishnah. Fascinating halacha. Look at. We only give a malkot that can be divided. If the court says he only can handle, we can't say 2 malkot. Can't give him 2. We can't give him. It has to be at least 3. If he, that means it could be divided by. You can't make 5 lashes because 5 is not divided. You have 3. 12, something, 15. Anything you can't do 20 because 20 doesn't divide into 3. Ooh. Right, and you would go down, right? Exactly. They estimated that he can handle. He got some of it. He got part of it. They started. They did 10. They said, hey, you know what? Turning the page. 22b, Mazel 39. We did 10, and we say he's not going to be able to make patur. He's over. Finished. At this point, he's patur. And the Rivan said that he got some lashes. That's a disgrace for a Jew to get hit in court with lashes. That's sufficient kapara. He says, if they originally estimated to get 39, then he can't get all of them, but they didn't start hitting. If he's going to be off the hook or not off the hook, we'll get to that. Now, another part of the mission, if they, and this is going to be Jaime's point. So the guy was supposed to get 39, he got 10. He can now they say, we stop it right now. And then look at the next halacha. They said he can handle 18. He started getting hit. He could really handle 39. They thought he could handle only 18. He's stronger than he looks, maybe. He can handle 39. 18, it's 18. And the fact they gave him even he can handle 39. But you only said he could do 18, so what do we say? Jaime, that's your point also. Both points are showing how. And now the question is, what's behind the next halacha? Is it because of our compassion, or is it because we're afraid that maybe this? Is that the concern? I don't know that we're concerned that the second estimation is wrong. The first estimation said, not afterwards he can handle 39. We're not going to listen to the second estimation. The second estimation is wrong? Oh no, I don't think that's what we're saying. I estimated only 18, and then we don't give a. Very good. Now, he said, one of the commentaries says, you got the amount that the Bezdin originally said, you're innocent. You fulfilled your first estimation. Okay. And we'll be back tomorrow. Beautiful. Mr. Safdie says, beautiful. Great day. And Yaron usually says day. Amazing.
Amazing. Thank you. Yes, always, Rabbi. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Bye-bye. Take care.
less than.